Welcome to our 5 o'clock hour of our Giving Tuesday. My name is Erin Pellegrin. I'm the Director of Culinary Nutrition and Education at Unite for Her. Hopefully, you have been tapping into the different conversations and videos that we have been hosting all day and listening to the stories of our members for this Giving Tuesday. We're so grateful and honored to be a part of this International Day of Giving. And hopefully, what you are hearing and the voices that you are listening to are inspiring you to donate to Unite for Her. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Giving Tuesday, but if not, like I said, this is an International Day of Giving where lots of different organizations and charities are reaching out to encourage donations so that we can all continue to do the work that we do and connect with the communities that we serve. And today, I am here with another one of our Unite for Her members, and it's truly my honor and privilege to be joined with Beth Parecka today. So, Beth, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Erin. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. So, why don't we start off with just sharing a little bit about yourself with those that are tuning in this afternoon?
Absolutely. So my name's Beth Parecka. I am currently living with metastatic breast cancer. About 8 years ago, on New Year's Eve in 2015, I received a call from my surgeon at the time. He had been pursuing a series of diagnostic tests to determine ultimately what was going on. I had at the time a rash and some swelling on my my right breast. And he called me and he asked me if I was sitting down. And I said, well, it's New Year's Eve. I'm just getting ready to go out with some friends. And he said, well, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to need you to come by the hospital. And I said, I don't, it's New Year's Eve. Like, what is so
Yeah.
important? And at that time, he asked me, if I was alone, if I had anybody with me, and had a conversation about, I'm fine, I got this. And he said, well, you have inflammatory breast cancer, and it's an advanced form of breast cancer. It's rare. And we need you to come in today. We are going to start your treatment immediately. And
Wow.
so I took a deep breath. And quite frankly, the rest of that day is a little bit of a blur. But
I'm sure.
I, went to the hospital as requested, and met at the time my oncologist, who is an absolute angel. And I remember him holding my hand and telling me that it wasn't the best diagnosis or the best news, that I was stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer. However, he had every faith and belief that I would be able to beat it. And so
Wow.
from there, went on to have 6 months of chemotherapy. And then I
Hmm.
had a double mastectomy. I had 30 lymph nodes removed from my right arm. And then I had, at the time, my fallopian tubes and ovaries removed because I was both
Wow.
ER and HER2 positive.
Okay.
And then I had a radiation and started my reconstructive surgery and was doing great. I was cancer free for a little bit, a couple months. um, and I
Okay.
started having significant pain in my right shoulder. And originally, I was diagnosed with lymphedema, so started treatment for
Hmm.
that, physical
Hmm.
therapy and compression garments. And
Yep.
the pain just kept getting worse. And I had a similar situation where I was sitting in my reconstructive surgeon's office actually one day, and I was just in tears. And it was a Friday afternoon, and I left his office and I was on my way home, and he called and he's like, I just talked to Dr. Hooray, my oncologist, and we
Hmm.
want you to come back in. We want you to come to the ER. Like, your pain level I've never seen before, and I just don't feel comfortable sending you home. And my dad happened to be with me. And so he turned around and we went to the ER. I ended up spending 7 days in the hospital,
Oh my
where
gosh.
ultimately it was determined that the reason I was having issues in in addition to the lymphedema, I had a metastasis in my right brachial plexus. So essentially, the
Wow.
tumor was wrapped around all the nerve endings, cutting
Oh
off
my
the
gosh.
ulnar nerve, which ultimately resulted in me losing use of my right arm from my shoulder down to my wrist. And I only have limited
Okay.
use of my right hand. And
Wow.
so that's when I started my journey learning about metastatic breast cancer. So that was in 2017.
Hmm.
I credit my oncologist at the time. I was living in Indiana and now I live in New Jersey. And my current oncologist, who's with Penn, for just being absolutely amazing. I have gone through
It's the
about
best.
four lines of treatment, and the current
Hmm.
treatment I'm on, I've been on for over 2 years.
Great.
I'm not your average case of metastatic breast cancer. I work full time to support myself and my dog, my little furry buddy. I am very, very lucky that I have not had any metastasis in my major organs or in my bones. It's all been in soft tissue, and that my current
Mhm.
treatment has allowed me to not only have a full head of hair, but really
Yeah,
have, a relatively, I would say, normal lifestyle in terms of other
that's
lines of
great.
treatment that I've been on.
Yeah.
And so that's been my journey, metastatic breast cancer,
Wow.
and living the dream here. 8 years between the two. The initial
Wow.
diagnosis was over 8 years ago.
Hmm.
And I hope I continue to beat the odds.
Absolutely. So do we. So do we. What an incredible story. And so, along that path, how did you come upon Unite for Her? Was it through, we have a wonderful relationship with Penn, but we also know that our community is very well connected with one another. So how did that relationship start?
Yeah, so in I sound like a bad country song here, you guys, but my
Not at
sister
all.
was diagnosed with stage 1B of breast cancer 2 years ago, two Thanksgivings ago, so almost exactly 2 years ago. And she started treatment. And when she started treatment, a friend of hers who is a breast cancer survivor and who had also been through, the lumpectomy surgery that my sister had been through, recommended Unite for her to my sister. And so my sister was the one who did
Wow.
the initial kind of like review, looked through
Yeah.
the resource, and was like, wow, this is really something that could benefit and help me. And so she
Yeah.
signed up and then immediately turned around and forwarded it to me and was like, this could be an amazing service for you. And there's
Yeah.
just a lot of, as you know, I mean, you work there, so you know all the amazing things you do. But to anybody who's not familiar, I mean, the resources that you offer are just so comprehensive, and they're valuable in that not a lot of typical insurances cover the types of
Mhm.
resources that you guys offer. And so when I first found
Yeah.
your site, I was just blown away by all of the different things that are available through the passport program.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, I think especially when we think of medical coverage and insurance coverage, we're getting there, but we're far from, all of us being able to afford or lean on something like insurance for things like medical acupuncture, oncology massage, counseling, sexual
Right.
health counseling. And so, for someone with a metastatic diagnosis, having access to those things continuously and being able to tap into services as your needs change or as your interests change. That's something that we want to make sure that a person with ongoing treatment always has the opportunity to have access to.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I think for me, I always felt like I had relatively good insurance,
Yeah,
and have been lucky to, like I said, work full time and have the benefit of having, corporate policy that I'm a part of. And but that's still, I mean, it doesn't cover the compression garments. It doesn't cover the little things
Yeah.
that you need when, I go through tissues, like I'm going through water, and, I
Yeah.
need a humidifier in my room. And to your point, like acupuncture is not covered. On my plan, there's only a limited number of physical therapy sessions that you can get
Mm-hmm.
annually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Chiropractic's not covered. And so,
Mm-hmm.
not that you necessarily offer all those services, but it helps so much. I mean, I
Yep.
keep track, and out of pocket, I have averaged over $10,000 a year the last eight
Wow.
years in just out of
Wow.
pocket things,
Yeah. Yeah.
copays, deductibles, I'm maxing out my deductible every year. And it's
Yeah.
not cheap. I'm lucky that the oral chemotherapy I'm on, there's a copay card. But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm single. And so I'm the only breadwinner. I don't have anybody
So,
to lean
yeah.
on. And so
Yeah.
when I found Unite for Her, what I was really attracted to initially were the food services, because
Yeah.
nutrition and appropriate diet has been a huge part of my personal cancer journey. Um, and it's so difficult. You want to eat healthy. You want to make sure you're getting the
Mm-hmm.
nutrients that you need. You want to be low
Mm-hmm.
sugar. You want to be non-dairy. You want to be plant-based. But it's not easy to find all of that at an affordable price.
Yeah. Right. And to put those wheels into motion, and have access, or like you mentioned, I mean, all of the treatments and services that you've been through, that can take a toll on the body. So now for someone that may want to get into the kitchen or prepare their meals, that requires energy, and there could be,
Absolutely.
neuropathy, or like you said, mobility issues. So having access to things like Sunbasket meal delivery, or vegetables that are delivered to the home, or gift cards that you can just do a grocery list and go and pick up your groceries or have them delivered, right? Like all those nutrition services, so that you can preserve your energy and maybe put them towards other things, and we can ease that burden a little bit.
Yeah, and you mentioned Sunbasket, and like I love the Sunbasket. I tend to order it when I know I have like an infusion, or I know
Yeah.
that I'm going to have like a series of scans, or I'm going to have a lot of treatments, because
Yep.
it's so nice to be able to come home and to feel like I can still be self-reliant, and I'm not a burden on friends and family, and
Yeah.
I'm asking them to come over and just help me chop vegetables. Like, having access to something that is really healthy, that's
Mm-hmm.
pre-portioned, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some of those recipes are, I love the 20-minute or less ones. I'll be brutally honest. They're
I do
so
too,
great.
Beth, and they're delicious. And I also personally order them all the time, because not only are they delicious and, like you said, fairly easy to put together, the quality of their ingredients
So
is
good.
exceptional. So good. And they're, you can always find where their ingredients are from and the quality, or where they're sourcing things like their fish or their poultry. So, you have the standards of food that we hold for the nutrition education that we offer. We have these high standards, just like we hold for our providers. We get that with Sunbasket too.
Yeah, and I love having access to you guys directly, because every time I call to like fulfill my gift card order
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a gift card to the grocery store, I have an opportunity not only to catch up with you guys, but to swap recipes and learn more.
Yep.
And like, I think it was you taught me this like neat little trick with white cannellini beans, and like
Mm-hmm.
just to
Mm-hmm.
replace heavy cream with that. I mean, I'm Italian, I'll be brutally honest. Like, I
Yeah.
am not going to give up pasta, and I love
No.
a good thick sauce. And that simple trick, not only did it
Yep.
get me like the much needed fiber and protein that I needed in my diet, but it probably has, added like God knows how many cans of beans I've done that with, but so many more vegetables and like legumes
Yeah.
into my diet. And that's important. And
Yeah.
I love
It's
having access
super.
to you guys. I mean, you guys have given me so many tips and tricks. And I think, I can't remember if it was you or if it was maybe Michelle, but another time I called and I was like, hey, my doctor really wants me to get more like fiber in my diet. And here's what I've been eating, and I just need new tricks. I'm so
Yeah.
tired of eating these 10 same things. And
Right.
next thing you know, my inbox dings, and there's a list of like 15 new recipes that are all
Yeah.
like exceptionally healthy. It just takes the burden and the effort off my shoulders, and it feels like I have a
Yeah.
partner in crime helping me figure
Good.
this out. And
Good.
someone
And
who
that's what we
understands,
want for
I
you.
think, and
Yeah.
appreciates what the patient is dealing with.
Absolutely. I mean, and I say to our members often, like, there are bigger things for you to worry about. Let us help you with providing tips, providing easy recipes. Text us pictures of those veggies you don't know what to do with. Or as you're at the grocery store, if you're sending us a picture of a nutrition label. So we do try to not only make it really easy and convenient so that you can, again, like use your energy in ways that are best suited for you, but also just make it really manageable and approachable so that you can also feel accomplished and like you're reaching your nutritional goals. So we want to make sure that you do always have, one-on-one, really easy, quick access to all of us.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've always gotten a quick response when I reach out to you guys. And I feel like there's so many more options that I haven't necessarily discovered. I did one or two of the Reiki sessions and I loved it.
Great.
That was new for
Great.
me. It wasn't necessarily something I had ever done before, but I was having a hard time. I had some things going on and had to have extra scans and treatments, and that's always nerve-wracking. And it just so
Yeah.
happened that you guys had a group therapy session where you introduced Reiki, and I was like, well, I'll
Yeah.
listen in and give it a shot. And then I scheduled an
Yeah.
individual follow-up, and honestly, like I went from like not sleeping at night to being able to sleep
Amazing.
like through the night, and it just helped me with, like, it opened my eyes to alternative therapies. I look at it as like a guided meditation. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
someone who can sit still long enough to meditate, but that session, I just felt, I left feeling lighter. I left
Yeah. That
feeling
was
like
your
a weight had
meditation.
been
Yeah.
lifted. Yeah.
I love
And I
that.
really enjoyed
Yep.
that. And I
Yeah.
know my sister found the massage really helpful because, as I mentioned, she had a lumpectomy, but
Good.
then had chemotherapy and radiation, and she also
Yeah.
had lymphedema. And so having the access to the cancer massage, just
Mm-hmm.
one, the provider specializes in working with women who have been in treatment, and
Mm-hmm.
having an oncology certified masseuse, it's completely different than just your average massage. There's parts of
Absolutely.
your body that just are never the same after you've gone through the surgeries and the radiation. Like your skin changes, your muscles are different. I don't know how else to describe it, but you're just different. And
Yeah.
so the oncology massage is just such a luxury to be able to access without
Yeah.
having to pay. I mean, some of the places around here that, or
So
around me at
expensive.
least, it's like $150 for an oncology
Easy.
certified
Yeah.
masseuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that's
And
for like a half hour. It's
right.
insane.
And it is insane. And, you know, really you want to make sure that you're going to someone, like you said, that understands your medical history. Like, Beth, what is your medical history? What's your surgical history? Do you have a port? Where is your lymphedema? And then they understand what all that means, and then they can give you a massage that is appropriate, that won't aggravate symptoms, and make you feel comfortable. Because also, like you said, things change, and that sort of shift, and things may look different, can cause some anxiety. A person can feel uncomfortable, but we want our providers to make it feel luxurious for you, to feel comfortable so that you can relax. And even with Reiki, like you said, I mean, meditation, traditional meditation may not be for everyone, but that's your form of meditation. That was your
Yeah.
outlet to sort of calm your mind. And there's something for everyone.
Yeah, it's great. And like I personally like to use my passport for, um like I said, the meal services and the nutrition services, because that's such
Yeah.
an important part of my treatment right now. But
Yep.
I have since found a friend, of mine, who was a good friend in high school, and she's a certified Reiki practitioner. And so now I can,
So good.
get treatment through her. And so I've
Mm-hmm.
continued to utilize it just because it opened my eyes. And that's the other
That's
thing
it.
I think that you
Yeah.
do a really amazing job of is anybody who's part of the Unite for Her network. I feel like you guys have, and I'm sure they're timed, but it seems like at least once a month or more, you're offering some type of free session.
Yeah.
Typically like online, which makes it easy, like super
Hmm.
accessible, very easy to like, tag in, tag out. And I
Yep.
really like that you guys cover a lot of topics that are hard to find information reliably about. There's a
Yeah.
lot of information on the internet. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard to know what you can and can't trust. Whereas I feel like if
Hmm.
I'm getting information, there's certain resources, right? Obviously, my practitioner, and there's other groups out there that I trust and that I utilize as a resource. But I know if I'm getting information from Unite for Her, it's a trusted source. It's been vetted, it's been reviewed by professionals. And I'll be honest, breast cancer is very undignified. There's a lot of things that you go through. Everybody sees all the things. You have to talk to your doctor about
Hmm.
the most uncomfortable body functions. And I
Hmm.
just have always felt like Unite for Her approaches these difficult topics and treats them in a dignified manner so that they're not awkward or weird or difficult to
Hmm.
discuss.
Hmm.
And it kind of
Hmm.
bridges that pathway to give you enough information that you know what you then need to take back and talk to your personal provider about, because some of it is applicable and some of it isn't. Everybody's different. Breast cancer is so different for every individual woman.
Right.
It's almost unique to each individual. There's no two that are alike. And
Right.
I think that that's what I've really found in Unite for Her is like it's a great starting point, and I can take the information back to my doctor and say, does or does this not apply to me personally? And if
Yeah.
it does,
Yeah.
would this be a good resource?
Yeah. I don't think I could have said that any better myself. And I'm glad that you have that impression, especially with the education and information we put out, because that is our intention. Because we want to make sure that we treat you with the utmost dignity and respect and give you information and education that, like you said, is trustworthy. We cover those difficult topics, but hopefully, like you said, give you some pointers so that you can continue to communicate with your team, and share information that is vetted from providers that are vetted. And we just really want to be that trusted source, because like you said, there is a lot of information out there. I have heard a lot of different things,
Exactly.
and we know that, you know, information can be very anxiety provoking. So if we can arm you with information, then you can decipher what is applicable to you, what you want to absorb and sort of lean on, and what you want to say, you know what, I'm just going to pass on through. So I'm glad that we're, you know, one of many hopefully trusted resources, for that kind of those kind of topics and discussions.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've taken away so much information from you guys. And I would be remiss not to mention your welcome box that you send out. I mean, it's so full of like just useful products, that, I wouldn't spend
Yeah.
necessarily the amount on certain beauty items that are provided. And it was a luxury to get such a lovely box in the mail.
Good.
It was nice to feel, appreciated and cared for. It was nice
And
to be able to
understood.
access, yeah. And I, like I said, everybody's journey and treatments are different and unique, but there's certain things that are the same. Everybody that goes through chemo is dealing with, hair loss and dry skin and chapped lips and all of that nonsense. And like the
Yeah.
products that you provided help address that. And, again, like they're not products I would necessarily splurge on. So having
Hmm.
access to that, it again, it's a luxury that I wouldn't afford myself, but it's so nice to have when you're
Yeah.
dealing with a difficult time. Like it's nice to
Right.
feel pampered.
Right. As you should through all of this. So we have wonderful partners, and we want that care box, that first initial touch point, to leave that impression. We want, everything that goes in that box is very well thought out. Partners like A Cure and Lancaster Pharmacy and the teas and the education and Jolene Hart, her book, like all of those things are very intentional. And that, like I said, that is the impression we want to give, is that, everything that comes in there is meaningful, is useful, is informative, but also has a really personal touch, so that you do feel supported, because this is a really, it's just a difficult time.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I have metastatic. My sister is a survivor, and her chances of reoccurrence incredibly low, which I thank God every day, because my niece and nephew need their mother. They're just little guys, and she'll be in their life a long, long time, and hopefully I will be too. But I feel that I have a better chance because of some of the access that Unite for Her has given me, and I feel like it's helping me live the healthiest lifestyle I can, and providing me with some of the mental and physical support and financial and emotional as well. I mean, I talk to you and Michelle all the time. I feel like we've gotten to be friendly, and and we both know what recipes we each like and can trade and share, and having that extra person just checking in on you to make sure you're doing okay. It's always helpful. I mean, any care that you receive, and maintaining your humanity through all the different treatments, I think goes a long way towards helping in the recovery process. And so
Absolutely.
I just appreciate that Unite for Her provides that to me, that they do bring that level of support and that emotional and, like I said, physical support.
Absolutely. Well, we are so honored to be able to continue to support you. And I know both Michelle and I, do not take our relationship and being your cheerleader lightly. We take that role really seriously. And like I said, we feel honored to be part of your support team and to be a source of information and access. I always think of you, Beth, when I make the green goddess dressing, because I know we shared that, and it's so good. I still make
it's so
that.
good. It's so good.
I know.
It's so good. Now I want that for dinner.
It'll brighten up this cold day. So yeah, I think we could all benefit from that. But it's those sort of relationships, and it's that sort of support connection that we build, that we feel so honored to be, part of your team of many, and we want everyone to have that amount of support as well. So we're, like I said, just so honored to have you part of our community, but that we are able to be here for you when you need us. So we appreciate you. And honestly, we thank you for being here this evening, just to share your story and what Unite for Her has done for you. And hopefully, we want you to be around for your dog, for your family, for your sister, nieces, and nephews as well. We want you to be around for a long, long time.
I plan to be here, and I know I tagged you guys on my social media channels. And so if any of my friends and family are listening, any amount, whether it's $1 or $10 or $100, would help this amazing organization. And so I just ask that you consider on this Giving Tuesday, please donating to Unite for Her and helping them continue to provide this invaluable support to people like me.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you to all those that are donating for your generosity, because this is what continues to move us forward. And even if you're not able to donate today, you are still able to donate all week for Giving Tuesday. So hopefully you will find it in your heart to share, like Beth said, $1, $5, $10. It all goes to supporting our community. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here with me. It's always so good to see you. I am so jealous of your hair. I love it so much. We'll talk stylists later.
Absolutely.
But Beth, it's so good to see you. And thank you so much for joining us on this Giving Tuesday.
Yes. Have a lovely evening and stay warm.
You too. Thank you, everyone.